Hi, my name is Anthony Gilmore. I'm the sous chef down here at BriteLife Recovery in Hanover, PA. Today we're going to be making a dish very near and dear to my heart. It's shrimp and grits. It's not the healthiest, but when I cook, I like to cook with love. So I'm going to run you guys through the ingredients here. We have some smoked sausage here, some country ham, we have instant grits, water for the grits, some shrimp, some grated parm, shredded cheddar, red onion, some mixed bell peppers, parsley, heavy cream, butter, and a nice little Chesapeake Bay seasoning. So this is what we call mise en place, which if some of you know, some of you don't know, French for everything in place, and it's just a very efficient way to cook and an easier way to put everything together all at once. So what we're gonna start with is cutting these bell peppers, and then we're gonna get into cutting this sausage. Now the sausage is already cooked. You could buy loose sausage if you wanted to, but I prefer pre-smoked sausage. So we're really just gonna give these like a nice finer dice. This is a very quick pickup type dish once everything's ready to go. So it really doesn't take all that long in the pan. The only thing that's really taking the longest to cook is the shrimp. So I chose peppers for this dish. It's a good ingredient because I feel like it really fits the flavor profile as the dish as a whole. It's very Southern, very Cajun type feel to it. You could use red pepper, you could use some poblanos, you could use jalapenos, depending on how hot you want it to be. I'm really just trying to keep it kind of moderate with the heat. So that's why I chose the sweeter mixed bell pepper blend. I first learned about this dish through my grandmother. She is responsible for a lot of the things that I decide to cook that are very near and dear to my heart. I cooked with her a lot when I was growing up, and she cooks with love. So I try to move forward and do the same thing. The first restaurant that I ever worked at in which I took a sous chef position job, I was allowed to put this on the menu, and it sold off the shelves in one night. The first night we ran it as a special, we sold out in 2 hours. So I was doing something right. So next we're gonna start with the onion, cut the ends off, discard. You really just wanna start peeling this top layer, anything that just looks dirty or bruised, to expose the prettier layers like that. Now I'm gonna cut these probably a little bit finer than this. The one thing I can tell you is when you cut onions, chances are you will cry. And the thing is the longer the onion actually sits around, the stronger it gets. But after years of working with onions, they don't bother me too much. Okay, so now that I've cut the onions and the bell peppers, I'm gonna mix those together, put them back in this quart container, and then we're gonna start with the smoked sausage. So this, you just want to basically cut it in half. This is like a smoked Cajun andouille sausage. Like I said, it's fully cooked. You can eat it just like it is. I like to go with these ones that are pre-cooked just because it's one less thing that I have to worry about as far as the cooking process goes. Like I said, the focus is the shrimp. So we really want to keep it on that. So after we cut them in half once, we're gonna cut them in half again. And then we just wanna do some nice rustic chunks here. One of the things that I really enjoy about working at BriteLife is the fact that a lot of people come in here and they're very unsure about certain things as far as the food we cook goes. They might feel like they don't like something, or they've tried it before in the past and they've had a bad experience. So one of the most powerful things for us is to provide them something that they may or may not have liked in the past or they've never tried before, and they end up falling in love with it. All right, so what I'm doing here, now that the water's come to a boil, is I'm gonna start adding these grits. So while we chose to use the instant grits, I know our friends down in South Carolina are probably making fun of us, but the thing about it is, it's not gonna make them any less delicious by the amount of butter and cream we end up finishing with. You always wanna stir to prevent clumping and burning on the bottom of the pot. We're also gonna add a pinch of salt. These are instant grits, so they do cook pretty quick. If it's gritty, it needs to go longer. You want them to be soft and smooth. So once these get to a point where they're just about complete, is when I'm gonna add a little bit of cream Probably about 3 tablespoons of butter, about a half cup of shredded cheddar. Continue to whisk until all your cheese is nice and melted. Everything comes together. Taste it for more seasoning. We can always add more salt. We can't take away. Remember that. Perfect. Now we can kill the heat and set these aside. Okay, so now that we set the grits aside and they're completed, we're going to start off on a medium-high heat saute pan. Get our oil in there. And we're going to get our oil nice and hot, and then we're going to start out with our peppers and our onions. The pan that we are starting with is going to be a regular saute pan with a little bit of canola oil. And we're going to wait until it gets nice and glossy and really hot. It's going to be smoking slightly, but you don't want it too hot, because if it's too hot, chances are when you put your vegetables in and everything else, it's going to burn. Hit it with a little bit of garlic, probably about a tablespoon. Get those things going together. Now we're really only going to cook these about halfway before we start adding the rest of the protein. Next we're going to add some ham or sausage. We like to let those render out until they're nice and golden brown. We're now going to add the shrimp now that we're halfway through the cooking process. And once we add the shrimp, we're going to toss everything together a little bit, and we're going to hit it with the Chesapeake Bay spice that we have here. And what we're really looking for as far as the shrimp goes is just to cook it until it's completely pink. We don't want to cook it into a point where it's hammered and chewy and tough. We're really just kind of cooking it until it just breaches that 140 internal temperature. We're going to turn down the heat a little bit and add our butter. Make sure everything comes together nice. The trick is to use cold butter because it mounts everything that's in the pan into a really nice sauce. And we're actually going to finish with cream just to take it a step further. So now that the cream's in there, we're going to turn it down a little bit and just bring everything together really nice and slow. Check our seasonings. Oh yeah, that's great. So now that everything's complete, we're going to kill the heat and we're going to take things to the plate. And the first thing we're going to start with is putting a nice sized scoop of grits on the plate. About 4.5 ounces will do. So now that the grits are on a plate, we're gonna go with everything that was in the saute pan with the shrimp. I like to take the shrimp out first to be the last thing that we put on the plate. So you just wanna go right across the center of your bed of grits. And this is when you can come back through with your shrimp. So the finishing touches is just gonna be a little bit of parsley and a little bit of grated Parmesan. And that's it. Thank you for tuning in today. We hope that you guys stay tuned. We have a lot more in store for you. If there's anything you want to see us cook, please comment below and we'll see how we can accommodate.